Hi, everybody. I'm Paul. I am the director of our NCI Designated Cancer Center, and I've been here for about 4 months, a little bit more than that. Many of you caught as soon as I said the word about, yes, I'm Canadian, and I hate that it's so diagnostic. If all the rest of our biomarkers were that good. I've been studying cancer for almost 25 years, and I've always been interested in a whole range of aspects of cancer biology. But about 15 years ago, my entire research changed. I got the call that no cancer researcher, no son wants to get. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. And suddenly, what I was working on changed. It became so much more real. And I started asking a very different question. Why is each cancer different? We treat cancers as different groups of patients, but really we're grouping a large number of patients together. And I wanted to understand what was common and different between cancers and understand how they got there. And that led me to really try to understand how different patients would be different. And I'm going to give you an example of two real patients and how their cancers are really quite different, even though they might not seem that way. And I can't tell you who the patients are because of confidentiality, but I'll give them names. Patient one, patient two. Almost immediately, you know there are a lot of things common about these people. They live in the same town. They have the same smoking history. They were in the same class in high school. They're exactly the same age. They go to the same bar to drink. They have the same hobbies. And unfortunately, when these two people were diagnosed with cancer, their cancers have a lot of things in common. They were similar size. They were in the same part of the body. They have similar spread. They were very similar disease. And so you would expect that what would happen to those two people would be the same. This is called a survival curve. At the beginning of the study, 100% of individuals are alive. And over time, you see the curve sloping as people are dying of their disease. And these two patients are very different. Patient one, Homer, dies of their disease in just 6 months. Whereas 6 years later, Barney is still alive. Their disease hasn't killed him. That's an incredible difference. And you might go, why is that? What's causing that? And so the first thing I thought is, it's the genome of the cancer, something about its DNA. So we did DNA whole genome sequencing of the tumors. We tried to understand every mutation of the 3 billion bases in the genome. And in patient one, Homer, 4,000. In patient two, Barney, 5,000. What's in common? Just one. Okay, two possibilities. This is the magic cure for cancer, or it's not. It's not, unfortunately. It was the first thing that we hoped, but it didn't turn out that way. In fact, if you take any two cancers, they will share on average just one mutation. Why? What's going on? Why are the genetics of different tumors so different? Well, it's all the things that we started to talk about. How you live your life, the genetics that you inherit from your parents, the places that you live, where you work, Homer working in a nuclear power plant and Barney living in a bar. Those types of differences affect the ways in which they develop cancer. And so we wanted to unpack one really specific aspect of this. So we started doing clinical trials of exercise in cancer patients. What we did was we bought 50 treadmills and we shipped treadmills to patient homes and we had them do Zoom-based exercise sessions. And then we said, what happens? And these are not long exercise things. They are between 4 and 10 weeks for newly diagnosed cancer patients, not lengthy interventions. 98% of patients finished every single exercise session. And what does exercise do to a cancer? It shrinks them. For men with prostate cancer, about 4 hours of walking a week shrank 70% of tumors. And if you didn't walk, every single tumor grew. Women with breast cancer, 2.5 hours, 50% of tumors shrank. But if you did not exercise, every single tumor grew. So what did I tell you? Well, every cancer is different. Their genetics are fundamentally different. And that's because of the intersection of how cancers grow with how we live our lives. And so exercise is a great example of that, but you're also probably wondering, how does exercise do this? Great question, especially since I asked it. What we've done on these trials is we've given every patient a ring, and we're monitoring every breath they take, every heartbeat, their blood pressure, their sleep patterns. This is a day in the life of one patient on our study, and right around 1600 hours, that was their exercise session. You can see when they woke up, when they were sleeping. We have a ton of information on this individual, and this is one day. This is the patient across the 22 days that they were in the study. We're actually collecting hundreds of billions of data points each day on these patients. And we're using tools from AI, machine learning, statistical analysis to really define exactly how exercise shrinks cancer.